Hey guys, what's up? Steve here with a work in progress on the RX-78-2. Now, I know I'm supposed to be working on the Easy 8 or the Banshee, but I wanted a kit I didn't need to think about. So I finished watching War in a Pocket, and that made me really want to build this kit, which is the Alex. So after watching War in a Pocket, I really like this kit. This mobile suit, it's just a really great design, pretty cool looking. But unfortunately I don't have the decals for that, so I didn't want to be waiting a couple weeks to get decals to place an order and wait for them to get here. So what I did was I grabbed a different kit, similar style, that would also not make me think about it and just let me work on it, which is this kit, the version Kotoki. Now, not the same kits, but pretty close, made about the same time, and very similar designs. So I do have the water slides for that from Samuel Decal, and yeah, a lot of fun. So I was getting a lot done over the weekend, but now it's the work week and I don't get much done during the week. You just spend like a half hour just working on parts and pieces, but it's not enough time to get much done. What I'm doing tonight is painting a few parts that will need to be assembled before, or painted before assembling, to help with seam line removal and color separation. So that's what I'm going to be talking about mostly in this video, is some of the processes I go through to paint parts that need to be color separated even though they're assembled together. So there'll be a lot of masking, a lot of pre-painting and masking, and a few other processes that you don't normally know about if you just snap fit a kit and paint it. So I'm going to show you a few parts I'm working on right now. So right here we have the little chin part and the visor, under the visor section as well, and the the face. So I can go ahead and assemble these. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I need to remove a seam line in the head, and it'd be very difficult to paint that part or that part separately without masking and very likely getting paint in places it's not supposed to be. So by painting it ahead of time and then masking it off and then removing the seam line, it's a lot easier, so that's why I'm doing that. Another part is the knee armor. This part needs to be gray, and zoom out. So that's this part. So I'm just going to paint that ahead of time so I don't have to worry about masking it off later and getting inside the cracks and stuff. So by painting it ahead of time and then just masking it off, it'll be a lot easier and it'll work a lot better. So that's a couple things I need to do before finishing up the seam line removal. For reference, the colors I'm going to be using on this kit, the blue is going to be this Model Masters Magical Blue. It's a very nice color. The red is Tester's Model Masters Coast Guard Red. It's another nice Gundam colory, Gundam-ish color. Armor parts will be dark gray. The white is this. I have no idea what to or how to say that, Schnellbootwies, I don't know, but it's just like it's very white, but it's just off by a little bit, so it's not pure white. So those are the colors I'll be using. I do plan to pre-shade. I might try this Demon Red, which is like a brown almost for the red parts. We'll see. I'm going to test it out, make sure it works. For the white, I'm just going to use a lighter gray. Not quite sure exactly, but I've got a whole bunch of grays I can choose from. And the blue, I'm not sure about that, but I've got a bunch of other darker blues that I'll use to pre-shade the blue parts with. So, yep, so I'm going to show you a few other things I'm working on for this kit. Alright, so over here, just normal seam line removal, cleaning up stuff like that, seam lines like that, and the ones on the chest. So this is all cemented together. One thing I need to do now is go through and re-scribe out these lines just to make sure that they're still there, because they're supposed to be there. And even though I'm cementing this together, I want those seam lines to still be there because they're supposed to be there. Same here. Now these were two parts I kind of sandwiched together, and what I did was I cemented them together, and then I came back through and removed or re-scribed out that line. So I'll be able to put in some black enamel paint, and I'll have that panel line, but it's cemented together, so it'll look a lot better than the two parts just squished together. And don't need to get rid of that seam line. Here's same thing, where these two parts have squeezed together, and instead of removing that line there, it's supposed to be there, so I've just gone through and re-scribed it out. So now I need to do the same over here. So I guess I'll show you guys how I went about doing that. Scribing is pretty challenging, and oops, dropping parts. I'm not sure if I want to do this on camera because I need to really focus on what I'm doing, but I'll try my best. Keep bumping the camera. Here, I'm going to move it. Okay, so I'm not sure how well this is showing up. I can't see anything in my camera monitor, but I think it's visible. So what I'm going to do is line up a piece of tape on this line here. And this is going to do two things. One, it's going to prevent any gouges if I slip going this way. And it's also going to be my guide for scribing out this way. Now I'm going to take another piece. Oops. And I'm going to go ahead and line it up on this line. And that's going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be my guide going down, and it's going to hopefully save any mistakes going this way. So because this is a flat line, I can use, oops, upside down, Tamiya's Plastic Scriber 2. This is good for just flat parts. It's not good for rounded things, like take that panel line there, for instance. It'd be terrible on that. So, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and very, very lightly, basically putting no pressure on at all, and just go ahead and begin to create my panel line. Now, I'm not pressing down at all, because that's how you make mistakes and they become difficult to fix. So I'm just going to do this a few times until I start to get a little groove, in which case I can start to apply a little bit of pressure. And I'm going to go ahead and start on the other line as well. See, so I just saved a scratch by having that tape there. And I can actually move this out of the way so I can slide down this way. And yeah, just gradually increase the pressure. So I'm going to very carefully deepen this out, and then I'll show you what to do next. Now, if you do slip up, it's pretty easy just to use some putty and a toothpick and just apply a thin coat where you may have slipped. So what I'm going to do next is just go ahead and sand that smooth. So there's actually a bit of leftover plastic and stuff and glue from when I glued it together, so I'm going to go ahead and sand that flat. And even if there wasn't like all that glue there, I'd still just go ahead and lightly sand it just to make sure there are no rough edges. And so that's pretty good. One thing I didn't mention is if you're doing rounded edges, like anything like here or here or something, you'd want something rounded like a needle or a scriber like this. Now, I've heard what works well for a scriber is actually using just a sewing needle and pin vise. So just put the needle in your pin vise and then just tighten it down and use that as a scriber. But I've got other tools for it, so now I'm just going to go ahead and clean out any dust that's kind of fallen in there. And we can start to really see what the panel line is looking like. And to finish it off, what I'm going to do is using Tamiya's extra thin cement. I'm going to go ahead and apply a very small amount to that panel line. And what that's going to do is it's going to melt the edges and kind of round them out and smooth them out so it doesn't look so rough like it does after you've just scribed it out. So that's just going to go ahead and do its magic, and don't touch that for a good 6 hours, because the last thing you want to do is put something sharp back into there while it's all melted. So that one's good. Once that's dried, I just go ahead and lightly sand it again and smooth it out just to get rid of any of that shiny part, which is the glue. So that's panel lining. So I'm going to cut it here. This video is getting kind of long, and it ended up not covering color separation, mostly just panel lining. So stay tuned for part 2, where I will cover color separation. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye.